Happy freaking Halloween! Oh no. Oh no. Well, that's not good. Oh my god. Okay. I don't think that was supposed to happen, actually. Oh, this actually broke.
You guys hear me? I actually broke it. I think he's dead. There's no way he can live. What the heck? Why did I do that? I didn't think he was that delicate. Well, clearly, I was mistaken. Okay, can you just stay there, my guy? Just for half a second. Can you just stand right here? Please, thank you. The casualties of war.
We've reaped what we've sown. Spooky. An arm, and also a head. Let's see if we can reattach these. I don't know if we can. Honestly, I'd be surprised if these go back on. Oh, this is straight up shattered. Shattered testimony. Haha. Well.
Bro, I straight up just destroyed him. I didn't think that would happen. That's okay. He was already broken anyways. Well, he'll live on in spirit as a decapitated body. And I'm okay with that. Because all he is a decapitated body now. And an arm. We'll hang his arm somewhere. We'll just connect.
We'll connect the head bone to the arm bone. This. I'll hot glue it together. And then we have a beast of mass destruction. A beast indeed. The beast is demonic in nature. Alright, oh well, Costco skeleton's dead. Oh, his lights still work. That cool. Alright, well. The
beast is demonic in nature. I mean, I think his head would actually go back on. If I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, his head looks like it would. But all the other ones are completely dead. And you know what? That's fine, probably. Let me see if I can get his head back on, though. Yeah. Okay. Well, I got his head back on. At what cost? At what cost did his head go back on? Because now we have an arm.
What's he doing back there? What's he building back there? Make him a cast? No. I'm not gonna make him a cast. He's a spookster. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need a cast. Are you kidding me? Here, let me try something. What if I go to here? What if I go to here? Okay. Actually, hang on. Now that's cool. Well, there he is. He doesn't have an arm. Because I have that right here, but you know what? That's okay. He doesn't need it. He doesn't even have bones. Well, he doesn't even have muscles or anything. He doesn't even have a brain. What is he doing, this stinky little goober? Stinky little goober. Okay, time to play the game today. I would love to play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles with my Twitch chat. Considering I started late, we should probably just hop right into it. Because I was sleeping up until about half an hour ago. And now here I am. Absolutely killing it, of course. This game supports autosave. Bobby bee boo boo. That's awesome. I love autosave. Okay. Case 4. His twisted karma and fate or whatever. What does that even mean? What does that say? I didn't read it, to be honest. It was like his... Okay, let's see what it is. Twisted karma and his last bow. Ow. Ow. I like how you can see Mr. Skelly in the background of my thing right now. I need to tilt my camera up a little bit because I adjusted it. Oh, are we going? Uh-oh, here we go. It was indeed a most bizarre incident born of a curious advertisement and a commonplace killing on the edge of town. Okay.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window.
Yep.
I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said.
A few. Red.
Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's
advertisement? That's how you pronounce it?
Serial murder, an executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town.
Not the edge of town.
There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson.
Yes, Wilson.
So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow.
My dear fellow.
For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
You know what else is afoot? You know what else is afoot? Oh. There's a couple things afoot right now. 8 days after the earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regained his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. 1st November, 10:24 a.m. Hey, that's pretty close to today's date. Wait, Kazuma regained his memory? Swiler, you need to watch the end of case 3. He went insane. How am I? You did this last stream. You know what? I'll give you a half dance. That's all you get. Nope, no more. Thank you for your sub, Ollie. That's all you get, though.
Hi, Nico. How are you? Smile.
I'm a little tired. I'm gonna be honest. I woke up when I said Nico would never go live in Discord. That's when I woke up. Okay, let's play this. I need to get through the investigation tonight, so we gotta go, okay? Swiler, yeah, you should watch like the last hour of my stream. Because first of all, how we actually solved the murder in that case is fucking insane. And then Kazuma went crazy as well. Professor Mikatoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Okay, I gotta warm up my vocals and stuff. So Sato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Oh yeah, and also, Swiler, if you're still here, the Professor, which is like a mass murderer famous in Britain for like killings of royalty, that's Kazuma's father. Kazuma's dad is a mass murderer. That's what we figured out. So you suppose my father knew? Do you suppose my father knew that he was actually the mass murderer, the Professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. No, but they're working on the case. They're still working on it. Which means that he's got to be not guilty, probably, maybe. Come to think of it, if you didn't say, that Professor Mikatoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well. Yeah, he did. That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows then about Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia and that he's regained his memory now. Yeah. Ah, there she is! Who? Who? Jigoku? Jigoku and, Mikotoba? He looks very dashing. Hello, Sasato. How are you? I'm well, thank you. We're delighted you arrived safe and sound. Mikotoba looks so dapper. Looks like a big fella. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh, not at all. It's my pleasure. Oopsies. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. I know he's not the same judge, but I'm going to do the same voice for the judges. Or I did it in case one, at least. I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive at the steamship with the steamship from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man, and why do I feel as though I've seen him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, what a little reminder, Seshiro. A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap? Eh? Hey, bud. Here we go, then. Don't punch me. Hereby pronounce the defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, it's Giga Chad. Guilty! Yuzai. Ah, oh, You're the man who did the trial in Japan. From case 1 all the way back then. You mean his gavel, Ollie? Clearly you don't know anything about law. He called it a hammer, oh my god. Well, now you're the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency. Hello, Judge Jigoku, how are you? It's been a long time. Good, you've remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. Oh, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. Yeah, why are you here again? Oh, I know why you're here, but why are you making it seem like you're here just because, I don't know, I want to be here? Also, I must know your beard care routine, because, oh my god. What is that? How? How do you do that? You have like a second beard under your first beard. No, you have like another beard over your first beard. You have like a full beard and mustache, and then over your full beard, you have more individual tiny beards. Neither did I. Didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. But really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seshiro? What are you talking about, Yushin? Of course, Judge Shigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago, came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Yes. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took a rather lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Sorry, ministerial status? Ministerial? Yes, didn't you know Seshiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs? It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on the study tour. Oh. It was him, so Strongheart didn't accept us out of the glory of his own big ticking heart? Guilty as charged! Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved in with 8 days ago. Yeah, what about it? And what happened 10 years ago? That tragedy. Yeah? Well, you want to go into detail about that, maybe? Yes, could you tell us more about it? Yeah, tell me more about it. I'd love that. Your journey from Japan. So, how was the voyage here? No, wrong voice. Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris. Maybe. French? You stopped in French? Yes, we did. Though for only one night. And yesterday evening we left the port at Dunkirk for Dover. It's in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. Yeah, Father. It's thanks to Seshiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. Wow. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Yushin. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. A professor of forensic science? Dr. Scythe, maybe? Mm-hmm. No? I don't know, maybe. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water to the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Zuma's father, I suppose. Zuma's daddy. Daddy. Hello, daddy. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asogi. Genshin? I know that name. Genshin Impact Asogi. His full name. Genshin. You knew, I presume, Father? Maybe. Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. Vile criminal. I love the spelling of criminal with a K. Criminal. You are criminal. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. What about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. I think he figured it out, though, because he was saying, Father, I finally made it and stuff. He's like, I think he knows something. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Yeah, exactly. Oh, why? We just saw him. As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, "Oh, I've decided. I want to travel to Great Britain and study there." Ooh. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? You know what I just realized? I just had a brain blast right now. Wait a minute. If his father was implicated in murders 10 years ago, what would he be carrying with him? What runs in his family that could potentially be used as evidence? Maybe, I don't know, maybe. That would be passed down through the generations that we have on us right now. Maybe a sword? Maybe a... He carried that. I'm just saying that if he carried that, that could be used as evidence. Maybe. I don't know. When I looked in his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. I see. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Yeah, he'd been missing. Kazuma's since turned up here in London, working as an apprentice of Lord Van Zykes. What? What? That's news to us! So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. Yeah, because Strongheart knew. Kazuma's reappearance. What's he doing? As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. 8 months ago or whatever. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? Yeah. In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. Okay, he thought that his body vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive? And here in London, you say? I never dared to even dream it. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago now. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. Okay. I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? Can we do that? Your time in Britain. How you doing? Have you tried the crumpets and tea? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Yushin here, Genshin, Asogi, and myself. We were the original three. The team. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you that. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Yeah, a little bit. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yuma University at the time, you know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy. Practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Yes? Not more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea, but, I mean, it makes sense. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was? He was a good man. Caden? Yes, but then, of course, in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. Huh? When Genshin was arrested for a series of most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing, and I tried to speak in his defense, but... You were there? But you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after the trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Who defended him? Who did that? Who did that? I don't know. Well, if you excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Gone. Sasta-san's gone off at a run. At a run! I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing your entire country. I wish you the best luck. Naruhodo. I hope you'll keep an eye on Susibaka for me. Keep looking after her, as you obviously have been. Oh, no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her, after all. I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. You haven't been home like half the time she's alive, that's true. What? Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Sasibaka was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh yes, Sasibaka hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. Point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Sashiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I see. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Ah, one other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Hey, yo? Oh, really? Of course, what can I do for you? Well, the thing is, Hey, juror number 1? 4? I don't know which one that is. Juror. I'm sorry that took so long. Miss Sasibaka! Now then, allow us to take your bags. From case 3? Yeah. What did he sound like? Allow me to take your bags. I don't know. He was the guy who was like, he ran the business with the carts. Like, he ran the business, right? I think so. Allow me to take your carts, your bags. I'm gonna talk like this. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. He's got a flask. Now, machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Why, sir? Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay in the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. Hey! That's probably going to come up as evidence later, I'm almost positive. Because, of course, Mikatoba knows everything. Same with Sholmes. I mean, he probably does. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. Oh, I know how Ace Attorney games work. Yes. Oh, well, I'm pleased then, but we were interrupted before. Professor Mikatoba was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go! Let's go! I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Yeah, what's he doing right now? Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Maybe you should do that. But we should go to Sholmes' suite so we can see little Wagahai. Does he live there? I forget. I don't think he does. Maybe? I mean, right now he does. I want to see little Waggy. Little Waggy. Meow, meow, little kitty cat. Meow, meow, yummy, yummy. Oh! 1st November, Sholmes' suite. What the fuck? What was that? Ah, a man screaming in a most unflattering way. You think it could have been Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. What the frick? I don't do it anymore. What the hell are you? What the hell? Okay, I gotta... Are these Italiano? Mon ami, mon ami. French? What are they, Ollie? I'll do the accent. I'll do the accent. Mon ami, mon ami. Left is Italiano. Right is French. Oh, good. I can do my French voice again. Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair. It's bright red. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Alright, you two, you're coming with me now, down to the clink. Why are you here? Hi, Jenny. No, not in, how do I do Italian? No, not in prison. It's dark and damp, I don't like it. Mario, I don't want to go to prison.
Both the darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared.
But you are always scared of the dark.
Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plant the next daring heist.
I don't like this. I don't like it. Look tough. We're finished down at the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Jenny. Have fun. What? What's going on? Oh yeah, thanks, Otis. And thanks, you correct detective. Sholmesy. Oh? Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Runo! Oh, Iris, we're home. Well, did you find your daddy? We did. Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope to get to see my daddy again soon. Yes, of course. Dr. John H. Wilson.
So, Iris, all that remains now is the greatest of problems known to man.
Why?
But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order. Don't you, my dear fellows?
Why are you like this? Why do you like this? Why are you the way that you are? That's my question.
Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, nothing at all.
Why, the crumb was such like on my face.
No, you got something on your head. Not as much your face as on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I've brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Okay. Whatever's going on here today.
In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I'm, in fact, expecting a guest later today.
Kazu Daddy, maybe?
Me?
You're two visitors. Mr. Sholmes, who were the two gentlemen that were here before?
Oh, just a pair of petty criminals, nothing of significance.
Why were they here, though?
Of course, they had to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions.
When the mood takes you? All manner of infractions?
But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Herlock's shows, well, that's where their luck runs out.
Oh my, you were a target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes.
But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally.
Hey, yo. You should have asked GREGSY to come, too. We could have had an arresting tea party. Arresting tea party? That sounds delightful.
I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming.
What's GREGSY up to?
The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Ah, I have it. A bungler. That's the word.
A bungler? It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. Those redheads have been up to... These redheads were up to no good. The beast was demonic in nature. I wonder what the men did. The greatest problem. What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? Maybe. Where's Wagahai? This is all I care about.
How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance?
Oh? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere. Possibly, maybe. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Isn't that cool?
I have monkey blood in me.
Wait, what? We were apes?
Indeed. And from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Where is banana? The consequences of banana overdose.
Our lot? What is the great problem, Mr. Sholmes?
Why, is it not obvious, my dear madam? The problem of rent.
yeah, you didn't have to rent out a tree before. But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tussbells only the other day? Yeah, he got like 5 shillings or whatever.
Pshaw, a large sum? One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later. And all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you.
What? Why?
Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it.
Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem for the coming month at least.
What's that? And what was the answer?
Why, there is a substantial clue before your very eyes. Eh?
Don't tell me. Let me see.
Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There's one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think.
You've lost weight. In the end. It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo. Really? Thanks for the hints. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on much longer. Thank you, Sasibaga. Sasibaga, the lie you told. Why are you lying? You sticky boy. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us...
I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow.
And then you got interrupted or something.
Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that.
Why? Why are you lying? That case aboard the SS Buria in January. Cosmo wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on?
This pipe tastes delicious. The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew, but how? After they'd carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse.
Okay. Okay. So the whole crew knew too? Oh, how horrible.
It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course.
But why? Why do it in the first place?
I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events.
What events?
His disappearance in Hong Kong.
Oh.
I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment.
Mr. Sholmes. Okay. Do I have any evidence? Do I have that image now? No, I don't. Okay. Can I just examine like the newspaper and then the mask? This looks like last week's edition. What's that article circled in red ink there? It's an advertisement column. It says, uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is not gonna be good. To the Red-Headed League. The League of Red-Headed Villains? The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but... Sholmes, what's going on over there?
Is something on my face?
Clearly this has something to do with that. Lively hair. The Red-Headed League article has been entered into the court record. Now that's cool. Mask, why is Kazu Daddy here? Or was he here? The mask Kazuma wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zykes as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. Oh. You'll have to give it back to him, I suppose. But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself. Yeah, you'd look cool. Imagine standing in court with that mask on, you'd have Freddy Fazbear eyes, you'd be scary as hell. But isn't he your best friend? Maybe. Teacups. My eye is always drawn to this big metal chest that Mr. Sholmes and Iris use as a coffee table. Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers? It is, so you'd think that they'd treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it. Oh no! I suppose something must have been frustrating him. What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged? The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes was doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh dear, that's a painful tale. Yeah, he's fine, don't worry. Probably. Globe? There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes' brilliance. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though. It looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray. I really don't get it. Yeah. What's over here? Stradivarius? Classic. We love the Stradivarius. Also, what is this machine? We never went into this. I finally managed to remember this behemoth's name, the Great Analytoscope. I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it? Oh, is that right? Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker. Ah, of course. Oh, that's given me a wonderful idea. I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office will be tidy at last. Don't even joke about it, Miss Sazibaka. You are joking, aren't you? Maybe she's not. Maybe she's feeling stinky. This is Mr. Sholmes' famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shodi something? Stradivarius. Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo. Stragivore. Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. Stragivore. Really, Naruhodo? Stragivore? Uh-huh, I bet. Fire? I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm blanketed table is so comforting. Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? I might. You suffer terrible burns, you know. Yeah? What about it? I'm gonna do it. I worry sometimes about how Sasato-san sees me. You're just a little stinky idiot. That's all you are. I love Iris's room. Or Iris's side of the room. Iris's pretty little tea set is set out beautifully as ever. Look. Tea time! Well, it's only by carefully taking care of a tea set that you can make good tea. Is that a roundabout way of telling me I need to tidy my desk? Maybe. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you do overthink things at times. No, it is. Don't gaslight me, sussy. You know it's true. If I remember correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. I think that every single one of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. Ah, it's such a dreamy thought. I actually had a go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry. Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. Yeah! Don't ruin dreamy thoughts. Come on, man. Am I just supposed to examine everything? This blackboard is where Iris scribbles down her latest ideas, is it? There's like E equals MC squared over there. Einstein's freaking on a whiteboard they got from Fisher Price. Yeah, well, you can't see it behind my head, but there's like a Fisher Price whiteboard back there, and she's solving like gravity. Gravity 2. Let's see. Oh, she dreams to have drawn a lot of little stick figures all lined up. Look. Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say. What? The little figures can speak? All your questions would be answered if only you would read this month's Friends magazine. So I'm the only one who can't make any sense of this? Yeah, you're stupid. You stupid. That's Iris's wonderful collection of medicines, potions, and chemicals. Potions? She's brewing potions? Is she a witch? She's clearly a Reptoid and Mickey Mouse. And a goblin. Is she also a witch? Does she have that on her resume too? Just look at all the little bottles she squeezed onto the shelves. Yes, and there are charming little ribbons tied around the bottles too. But the labels aren't quite so charming, are they? This one here reads, deadly poison. Oh, I've been so excited about the idea of helping Iris with her experiments, you know. Just try to avoid any bottles labeled deadly poison or highly explosive. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. It's over here. Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' curious collection of trinkets from the various mysteries he's solved. It's one of my favorite parts of this room, full of items with such exciting tales to tell. And I do believe he's added to it since I last looked. Now there's a mysterious pince nez, a mysterious little box, a mysterious horseshoe, a mysterious biscuit. A mysterious biscuit? I think the last one might just be one of Iris's unfinished snacks. A mysterious biscuit. That's funny. Ollie, what am I missing? What am I not examined? What have I not done? Go back to talk? Oh, okay. I thought I had to do the gabagoo. Looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes.
The Red-Headed League. Does that strike you in some way?
I was thinking that just maybe it might be related to your bright red hair. He's like,
you noticed. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
In the first instance, and quite indispensable observation.
Believe me, I couldn't have seen that hair with my eyes shut. I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut.
So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits.
Regale or boast? Regale? I don't know, whatever. Your latest exploits, the Red-Headed League. So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you've circled?
You noticed in the paper, then?
Regale? Yeah, whatever.
That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment.
It was? How?
According to the advertisement,
that's how they pronounce it in the cutscene.
Advertisement. The Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, only condition for becoming a member is having red hair.
That doesn't entirely surprise me.
But listen to what lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week.
Hey, yo. £4? Oh my, £4 a week? But why? Why are they paying people? What are they paying people for?
That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement.
Well, surely every redheaded person in the country would be flocking to join that case. You're right, Sussy. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once.
I mean, you have pink hair. Not quite red hair.
So will I, just on the off chance.
That might be stretching a point. I think, Sussy, you got not red.
The trouble is that they have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can.
But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away.
And Sholmes is like, I'm gonna capitalize on this man's unfortunate passing.
It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try to join in his place.
Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow?
I have not. I've seen lots of redheaded people, but not a redheaded fellow. No.
So why? Why did it have to go so wrong?
Oh, were they interviewing him or whatever? What on earth has happened?
A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo. Though it pains me to admit it.
Your blunder. You left your queen exposed on the chess table.
What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes?
Glad you asked, Miss Sussybaka. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece.
Really? I highly doubt that.
I changed the color of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry.
So you dyed it. Chemistry?
I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair aflame like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson.
No, I'm good. I think I'll pass. Sussybaka's gonna be like, I want it.
But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it?
Ooh. Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say?
But of course, to earn £4 a week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger.
Fair. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely.
So anyway, Helly left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street, where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members.
Okay. So what went wrong?
The whole park was choked with red-headed folk, like a Costa's orange barrow.
Okay.
I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. When the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?"
No. No. He blundered. One of the most elementary of blunders.
So I naturally had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair to the police.
Oh dear, what a disaster for Hurley and those two redheads.
Why? Why'd you do that?
Mr. Sholmes, you mentioned before that you were expecting a guest today.
Indeed, Miss Sasato. Miss Sussybaka. That is correct.
Not another of those red-headed gentlemen that were here before. You didn't give me money that wasn't owed to me. Now go to jail.
Not at all. They were petty villains. The guest I am expecting is a client.
Oh? Oh?
A young gentlewoman who wishes to appoint the services of this great detective, no less.
Oh, how wonderful, Mr. Sholmes.
You must stay and observe the fashion in which a great detective receives his customers.
Must we?
I have you in my clutches now, Rent, just as I have you in my clutches, redheads.
Yeah. That hearty laugh is masking a rather sinister thoughts, I feel. Yeah.
You know, the lady isn't due for another hour yet. Don't feel as though you must wait around if you have other things to do.
I might have something else to do. Maybe.
The Great Waterloo Hotel.
Lord Chief Butt Cheeks.
Lord Chief Butchies.
What's he doing there? What are they doing?
Like Zoink Scoob, we got Zoinkies here hanging out with the Scooby-Doo villain.
Reggie? Your Honor, my lord. It is indeed Zoinks. Zoink Scoob. My lord, have you ever heard of the dog that goes by Scoober Doober Doo? The show is so funny. There's a talking dog, and they go around and solve mysteries. Out of my sight, Barrack Van Sykes. Like Jinkies. Like Zoink Scoob. Let's get out of here. Here's the final,
No.
Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord.
What's Lord Van Zykes doing here? I mean, he works under that guy, so... Why, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? Isn't there always tension when this big Strongheart guy is around? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension.
Hey, yo.
He noticed me.
My apologies. I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress makes you all but invisible to me.
Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure.
From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here.
Like Kazu Daddy?
Now then, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord. I'm right here. Kill me now. Why?
Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you.
Yeah, that's it. We're literally inside Big Ben. Oh, no, not at all. I've just never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature.
If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise.
Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly.
As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam.
Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited.
Zyke. What's up, Zyke?
I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands, then, Lord Van Zoinks. I will attend at once.
Don't look at me like that, you weirdo. He was like... He was like... Why are you looking at me like that? He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know, but I haven't done anything. Have I? Maybe.
These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? I don't think that's what he meant.
Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe.
Of course. Yeah, I knew that. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just,
Fear not, you've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further.
That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me.
Lord Van Zykes is doing an admirable job of holding down the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday.
Why? Why would he do that? Missing?
What's become of Cosmo-sama now?
He knows that it's Cosmo, right? I just want to make sure. He knows that, like, that dude's Cosmo, I assume. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million.
30 million?
Are there even that many people in the world? No, probably not.
As a comparison, Mr. Naruto, the population of the imperial capital of Tokyo is 2 million.
I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries.
Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations.
The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques. And cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here in the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World.
Now that's cool.
He's the same as ever. I see that passion of his is quite something.
You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruto.
Of course, yeah. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up.
Wow.
So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions.
Oh, really? Really? That's kind of weird. The forensic investigation team.
I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department.
And can you not do that now?
Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say.
Why? Unintended repercussions of our trial. Well, yeah, but that 10 years, that's silly. We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though.
Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing. I almost said policying. Policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way.
Missing apprentice. What? Who's that? About Lord Van Zyke's apprentice.
Ah, yes. That came as a surprise to me, I must say. That you and he are old friends.
How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zyke's in the first place?
I don't know. It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police.
Okay. He just found his way to Great Britain? He just wandered there?
They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel.
Okay. Oh my, so he stowed away to get here.
He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact that he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zyke's. That way I could keep an eye on him.
But then, why the mask?
I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zyke's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice.
Okay, because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask?
I mean, I guess. He's kind of mysterious and shit. I don't know.
He's proving to be great help to Lord Van Sykes. I have high hopes for his future.
By the way, do you know where he's gone?
No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being.
Oh.
I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean.
Genshin Impact Asogi. Kazuma's father's crimes. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was...
Ah yes, Genshin Impact Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain.
They were such awful murders and unprecedented. Using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon? Maybe a hound, perhaps? Maybe one that resided in Baskerville?
And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government.
You would think that'd be like the first person they'd suspect, honestly.
So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now.
I don't get that, because Madame Tussbell said his face is in my waxwork museum. And I know they cover it, but like, everyone, like, we know that it's there and that's just allowed to be there. Okay.
Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London.
Well, I mean, I know 2 people who do. The people who were at the trial. The main motivation was to avoid aggravated relations between our 2 nations at the time, I understand.
Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause.
Huh? Supporters of a mass murderer?
The majority of the man's victims were a blight on aristocracy of the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed anyway.
Right, I see, but it was still murder, though. I mean, yeah. And it was like Odie Asman, where it's like, that dude's a douche canoe. But I mean, yeah, it's murder. It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey.
The Reaper, you say?
Maybe. Maybe they're connected and stuff. Ugh. Is that all we have to say? What do you know about this? Could I show you this, Lord Strongheart?
I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence.
Oh.
Especially when the evidence in question is so dull.
Ah, so that's the real reason. Okay. We got dull evidence. What do you think of my badge, though? That's pretty cool. Oh, okay. He's not even gonna say anything. I have a cool-ass badge. Badge? More like Sag. Okay, back to the game. I assume I just moved now. Great Waterloo Hotel. Let's just peep this out. Why not? Let's just make a little peep. Okay, move again. Shalom Suite again. Shouldn't your friend be here now? Hello, delivery for Nico.
Why, thank you very much, sir.
Ah, there is my guest now, my latest client with money to spend.
Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley.
Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. Rent. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course.
Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you?
Oh, dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due.
Bang!
Oh, juror number 2.
Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, please, oh please. Please find my husband. He's run away.
Didn't he literally just said I'll do anything but a runaway case?
To upset me?
I beg your pardon.
Never mind. A personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I didn't say a word.
Come, my dear madam, be seated. Iris some tea, if you please.
Of course.
Sasibaka. What's the matter, Miss Sasibaka?
Oh, it's just that gentlewoman.
She's a juror.
I feel sure as I've seen her somewhere before, very recently.
Why couldn't it have been Corn Juror that showed up? I want ding. I want that guy. Or that was a girl, right? I couldn't tell. Yes, now that you come to mention it.
As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil.
Evie Vigil. What's the pun, Ollie? Actually, don't tell me. Is there a pun, or is this just a character? Evie Vigil. Evening Vigil? What does that mean? Oh, partier? She's a flapper.
As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure.
£1 million. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madame. Being offered a case to solve is reward enough.
That's stupid.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're the picture of benevolence. Benevolencia.
I will of course make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also.
Maybe.
If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be...
Oh, me?
Oh, me? What I'm about to tell you, I should like to communicate to in the strictest confidence. You understand?
Ah, these are my friends. My friends. A Jean's turn of French. Oui. Oh, these are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
Ah, I see.
I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He's hard of hearing.
Yep. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Converse with lady. Mrs. Vigil, Mr. Vigil, your husband's disappearance. Wow. Forgive me for asking you, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Juror number 2. Quite recently, perhaps.
Oh, my.
My dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English.
You know, that actually is a real phenomena, that you can differentiate less features in people that aren't of the same race as you. It's actually real. It's like a psychological thing. Like, two people that are of the same race as you will look very different than someone else looking at the same two people who is a different race. I learned about this in my psych class, my freshman year of college.
If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
It is possible that you're the nice young lawyer from a trial I attended last week.
I thought you didn't like me. I knew I recognized her.
To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand.
Why couldn't it have been Vampire Man who shows up? I like the vampire more. Or Corn Juror. I mean, I guess she's better than, like, the dude on the left there. Or, like, the potions guy.
Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine.
I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now. Yeah.
It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer. Being hard of hearing, I mean.
Yep. Pardon.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was flippery, really, nothing more.
Okay. Now look what you've started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much.
I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in this corner. In the corner.
Hey, yo. Yes. Mr. Vigil.
Tell us about your husband, madame.
Mr. Vigil, my daily, is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
Ooh.
Look at this distinguished gentleman. Look at the way he's standing. Yeah. An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married?
It will be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate so that we live quite comfortably.
Okay.
As it would appear, I need only look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh.
Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
Oh, that's exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see.
Let me guess, he's part of the Red Hair Society?
What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison.
Oh. I see. A guard, that is somewhat unusual. Prison warder. The warden.
So, your husband is a prison warder?
That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder.
What?
Indeed, I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare for those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out.
Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishment?
And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors.
Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged?
Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes.
Really, Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment.
Wanna be famous? By followers, primes, and viewers at Big Fall. The Return of the King. The Return of the King. Do not ban them, Ollie. Don't do it. The Return of the King. When's the last time we had a Big Follows in here? I can't even remember the last time we had Big Follows. There's no funny link? Yeah, but like... I just got DM'd 5 times by them. I literally in my Twitch DMs 5 times I got DM'd. Want to become famous by followers primes? No, it's fine. It's fine, Ollie. Any big followers in the chat? Swyler, are you a big follower? Also, hi, Ordo Gordo. They were innocent. No, they were not. They were trying to get me to go to bigfollows.com. A punishment worse than death. Zero tolerance for goofsters and gaffsters. You're the biggest follower around. You know what, Swyler? I'd be inclined to believe that you are behind Ollie, probably the longest watching viewer. Maybe? I could be forgetting someone. They just want to share a few large follows, as opposed to a small follow, Ordo Gordo. Sam SMH. So here's the thing. Sam tunes into my streams, but he tunes in for like 10 minutes. Which technically does count. But he says things like, I'm about to go mac a panini right now. And he's like, goodbye. And then he's gone. Chomps isn't here often. Chomps, you know what I mean. The regular viewers.
Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it.
Maybe the same cemetery as the case that came before this? Maybe.
Yes, that is correct. Logate Cemetery.
Oh? No!
Logate Cemetery? The very place we were discussing in court. That's kind of crazy. Okay, keep going. That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, my dear fellow, and yet undeniable.
Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me.
Ah, pay no heed, madame, pay no heed. A private matter.
This can't really be a coincidence, can it? Maybe. Your husband's disappearance. What happened to him? Did he get buried alive?
So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing?
Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday.
I'm sorry, yesterday?
That really is recent, laughably so.
The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him to return home at night, but this is different. For him to not make any contact for a whole day. That has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, what can have happened?
I don't know.
My dear Miss Vigil, please, calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police?
Why, naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas, as my husband has only been missing for 1 day. I was asked to wait patiently at home.
Okay.
In truth, Miss Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty.
Hasty-tasty.
I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive prowess to track your husband down anyway.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
And furthermore, let me assure you, any chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision.
Does she know what you're talking about? I don't think she knows what you're talking about.
I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That really is all there is to it.
That is not true. That is not true.
You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention.
$1 million. Yes. You seek only to put this sweet's rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. $1 million.
Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Miss Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation.
Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir.
Fear not, madame. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure.
So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes.
Good news should be delivered early, as I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession.
I would love a picture of Daly. I'm willing to bet his hair is red. Who could have thought that?
Thank you. Now allow me to show you the door.
I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous.
Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
You know, I think every time, Hurley. I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come up with such nonsense?
He's just like saying words. It's like the Michael Scott quote where he's from The Office, where he's like, sometimes I start a sentence and I don't know where it's going, but I just find it along the way. It's like that. And that's what I do too. I relate to that. When I'm streaming, I just say sentences, and sometimes they resemble a cognitive thought. Most of the time, I'd say 60% of the time, I'm just like, that's what I sound like. But sometimes I'm like, I have a big brain for my big follows.
But how did you come up with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two, are you sure?
I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it.
Okay.
I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say.
Okay.
After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved.
Hey!
Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Don't look at me with those sad eyes and that beautiful smile. Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. The lights are on and no one is home in that head.
Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case?
Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually.
Excellent. And what did you make of it?
Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked at Barclay Prison, I mean.
Ah, so you noted that.
You think I'm stupid? Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery.
Enoch, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So it was renowned among us students.
Among Us!
Ooh.
This game's getting spooky. A student at the university for being It was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Well, that's probably the last time we're ever going to see Enoch Drebber. Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated. The professor.
And now a warder from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem.
It's all very peculiar.
Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Run along to the prison and see what you can glean, would you?
What, you want me to do it? I thought you were going to come with me.
It's the prison governor you want. No doubt that man is equally worried.
But aren't you going to go yourself?
Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair.
Just put on a cool hat. Just put on your hat. You have like a cool hat and goggle thingy. You're fine. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair?
That was a quite different matter. So I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy.
Bye-bye. Okay. Of course you are. Okay, let's go to prison governor's office. Okay. Cool. Hello? Who's there? Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. It's foggy? What is this? I mean, it is October. It's very spooky. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. Ooh, what the? Guillotine clock?
Squawk! Squawk, bird! Mack!
Isn't that a Pokemon? What Pokemon is that? That's the one that shoots a fish out of his mouth? He like, you know the one that like he's like, ah, 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 and he like, you know? What Pokemon is that? It's from Gen 8. That's a pelican? No, Ollie. What? It's November 1st? Oh my gosh. They missed such a good opportunity. They could have had us explore a cemetery in the thick fog on Halloween, but they're like, no. November 1st. It's Hollow's Day. You're being weird right now, Ollie. What's the Pokemon? Does anyone know? Also, hi, Cup. The Bluebird that, like, Bluebird Pokemon Gen 8. This dude. Look at this dude. What is his name? Cramorant. Hello, Cramorant. How are you today? Hang on. Are you ready? Hello, Cramorant. There he is. My man. You're telling me that's not him right here?
Locked up for his crimes against humanity.
Okay, 1st November, Barclay Prison Governor's Office. Whoa!
This place is full of hardened criminals. I cannot remember the last time a civilian was down here.
This man has a Scottish accent? I can't do a Scottish accent, Ollie. I literally can't. I'll try.
Criminal.
Wait, what is this Scottish? Is this Scottish? Is this British? This is more British. Urgent beat Brat. Got my underwears in a twist.
And you didn't want to talk to an inmate but to me?
Whoa, big man.
You can know who I am. I'm the governor. Barricading them.
Hey, barricading. I know that name. I don't know how to do a Scottish accent, but I'm just going to roll with it. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Rinosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. This is the definition of big man.
And an Easterner, I see. Does that mean?
Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Hi, Beagle.
Japan? Did you say Japan?
Yes?
Well, there's not any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try the prison door next day.
I think I'm getting kind of the hang of it, but not really. I did notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about...
I didn't like to be so direct, but... I've no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners.
This is Bargy? This is what? Wait, what's his name? Is his name... Hang on. Don't tell me, Ollie. His name is Barry Caden. Very caved in. Very caved in? I don't know. Am I close, Ollie? I don't know. What's his name? Barricade? Oh, yeah. Okay. He's a big man. He's definitely a barricade. Okay. Okay, bye.
Now get out of my hair.
So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means he's racist. I think it's because of the professor case. Yeah. It's because the mass murderer was Japanese. I think so too.
I entered you.
10 years ago, Genshin Impact Asogi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. I'm never not going to call him Genshin Impact Asogi. That's his name. Just like whenever someone on screen says Sasato-san, I'm going to call her Sasibaka, because that's her name. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison.
I might have known. You're sniffing around the case, aren't you?
Ooh, he's kind of cool.
Your agency, part of the Professor's Great Web, no doubt.
No, not at all. We're just,
Get on with you before I punch your lights out.
We're going. Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not gonna get anywhere here, unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Who's Sasibaka? Was he Sasibaka? Sasibaka. A judicial assistant sent to Britain on a study tour. She's the epitome of a refined Japanese lady and a huge help to me always. Sasato Mikitoba. More like... sussy. She's a little bit sussy. She's with me. She's with me right now. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. This is Sasibaka right here. Susato. Governor Caden.
What are you thinking, Miss Sasibaka?
I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. Yeah, your dad and Jigoku were talking about it. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas to help us. Yo, Beagle, how is Beat Saber? Do you get like sick after playing it for a while? Like, is it disorienting, or is it just like, can you play it for hours? Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Can I present anything? Sussy baka. Can I talk to you? I said get out. Okay. Ollie, can I do anything or do I need to leave? Badge. Governor Caden, can I at least show you this? Present the man, okay. How many times can one man turn his back on you in a single conversation? I don't know. Governor Caden, can I at least show you this? Okay, well, he didn't like that. Turn around. Governor Caden, can I at least show you this? No. I can't present any people. Ollie, what do I do? Guide me, my child. I can't speak to criminal. I said get out. Well, that was Russian, but you know what? You examined? I can't examine. I can't converse. I can move and present. That's it. Move. Okay. Yeah, I figured. Let's go to the hotel. I think you need a thingy. You need a thingy. Hey, my man. What are you doing over there, bud? Hey. He's reading a little newspaper, ain't he? Hey, bud. That's Professor Mikatoba over there. Sussy Baka's dad. Hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. But where's Judge Chikoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today, goodness, he is so full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before about how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it's the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That'd be wonderful if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Is he drinking coffee on a comfortable settee? Yeah. Now. I have a rather lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that out loud, did I? I mean, he heard me. You Mikatobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Yeah, they can read our minds. Or could it be that you Naruhodas are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts? Why do these people know what I'm thinking at all times? Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. Give me paper. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. The letter of introduction has been entered into the court record. A note of introduction on our behalf from Professor Mikatoba and to Governor Caden. Hopefully now he'll be willing to talk to us. Good luck then. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I really like these hotel workers. Aw, man. We're stuck working the front desk shift again. I know. It's terrible. No one ever comes here. And look at how amazingly large the bell is. Every time someone rings it, it rings my eardrums and I go deaf for the next 5 minutes. I know. You know, it's a hard job, but someone's got to do it. Someone's got to ring that absurdly large bell. Now that I look at it, why is it so huge? This bell is ginormous compared to the people. Comically large bell. Oh man, I've been checking in guests all day. And you know it's a hard job, but someone's got to do it. Comically large bell. Why is it so big? Okay, let's go back here. Present. Can I examine this? Oh, it just says whoa! Black bird line. Whoa. Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse! Grouse! The SS Grouse, first class cabin 001. Yokohama departure, 11th September, London arrival, 1st November. Oh, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Chigoku came from Japan on, isn't it? Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. It seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Well, where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo? Did you lose your ticket? Did I imagine it, or was that a comment accompanied by a little sigh? Maybe. Okay, well, there's a ticket on the back. That's good to know. Hello? If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden.
What's this then? You can't pull the wool over my eyes? You good for nothing, Japanese student. Mikotoba? That young jock from the forensics laboratory? That Mikotoba?
Yes, exactly. Him. Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Yushin Mikotoma's daughter, Sasibaka.
Jeez, you're the young man's daughter. And you didn't think to mention that before?
I do apologize.
Aye, well, you best take a seat then. I can offer you a cup of tea, perhaps. Didn't forget one of these wee handcuff biscuits.
Wee handcuff biscuits?
And didn't forget to try one of these wee handcuff biscuits.
I love handcuff biscuits. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now.
So then, what can I do for you then?
Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing.
Missing?
That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
I've never heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh, but how can that be? It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Vigil?
That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Uh-oh. Why do you look sad? Clearly that means something to him, okay? Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Aye, of course.
What do you know? Chief Warder Vigil. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison.
Aye, that it was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder.
Sorry, did you say was?
Aye, he doesn't know what here no more. He left the job.
Oh my. When was this exactly?
There's a question. When was it about? Can I have been much less than 10 years ago now?
What? So maybe this guy was lying to his wife and saying, yes, I'm going to work at prison today. And then he's like, hello, I am in the Red Society instead. And that's how he'd bring home money. I don't know, maybe. What? 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago?
Aye, as I mind it. You can. I've never heard the fella's name in all that time. That's a word if he's gone missing now.
But Miss Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you please tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here?
That's important, is it, huh?
You can't spell Red Society without Red Sus. Yeah, Red Vented. And who's got red on them? Red. Kate invented. Yes, I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruto? I can't help but wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Is it connected to La Profesora? Ah! Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. 10 years ago. So Mr. Visual actually resigned from the position of Chief Warder 10 years ago, you're telling us. What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice from the matter.
You mean he was dismissed?
Okay. It was. After a particular walk. After a particular walk. After a particular walk.
I'm trying to, like, nail down his accent, even though I have no idea how to do it.
Aye. That's all the word for it near. That's our word for it near. A walk to the gallows.
An execution? Say the Scotland Forever video? What? What is Scotland Forever? I don't even know what that is.
It's the job of a chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions to see.
You don't know Scotland Forever? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Only Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning.
What did he do? What did he do?
I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal the information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for Chief Warder to be relieved of his post.
But why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here.
I wouldn't have cared anything about that, I'm afraid.
Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal?
And what will that be, Anne?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Wasn't the professor. Was it by any chance professors? My thoughts exactly.
I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm not at no liberty to answer that.
I see. Why not? I don't get it. Professor Mikotoba.
My father came to Britain all those years ago. No,
Sussy, you don't have that accent. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. You can.
Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard. In the basement of St. Sinners. It's still in use today.
St. Sinners? That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there.
Mikotoba and I after used to ride a carriage together and negotiate terms.
For more fresh material, I suppose.
Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and gab on a book dissection and all sorts. Oh, takes me back. And we put a tea and a plate of cuff biscuits, of course.
How charming. I love cuff biscuits.
He was a good fella, your father. Reliable and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese.
Because of Genshin Impact Asogi, I suppose. Okay.
Well,
bye-bye.
Can I tell you anything else?
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, what? A moment before you're away, Hen.
Book?
I'm sure I have it here somewhere.
You're getting closer to Forrest Gump. I'm doing great, Ollie.
Ah, I found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it? That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course. Oh my, are you sure? Aye, it's no trouble, trouble at all. It's not the original mind. Vigil's dismissal notice has been entered into the court record. Now that's cool. Thank you very much, Governor Caden. All in return. Do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed. I'm gonna come back here. I'm willing to bet I'm gonna come back here. Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being. Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found about Mr. Vigil. Let's do it. What will we tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Baker's secret. Maybe a secret about a certain hound. Maybe of Baskerville quality. First November, Sholmes. Sweet. We're back. Who is this? Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. She's so talented. I love scones. Scones are an underrated delicacy. I feel like people don't appreciate a good scone. People are like, cookies, cupcakes, but a good scone? Ooh! Ooh! I'm telling you, that's so good. So that's what the delicious smell is. Are you imposter? No, I am not. Why are you the way that you are, Sholmes? Why are you blue? Dabba dee dabba die. Dabba dee dabba die. Dabba dee dabba die.
Greetings, my dear fellows. You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Why are you weird? Why are you why are you the way that you are? Why? Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Maybe. Oh my.
Pray tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information?
Oh, yes, something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It almost certainly isn't. It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that...
Sholmes!
Oh, Gina.
Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important.
Gina? What are you doing? What's wrong?
I can't Adam and Eve it.
I don't think that's the right phrase, but alright. Sniffy, sniffy. What's wrong? What's happened?
What happened? What happened? Clearly a very grave matter indeed. Well, Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
Uh-oh.
It's the boss.
No. GREGSY, we told you gotta get out of here. What happened?
The boss is... He's dead. GREGSY!
We told you gotta go to France. Oh. Is he... No, he's fine. He's gotta be fine.
They just found his body. Shot with a pistol. GREGSY!
Luigi! He's not gonna be living there any longer. But Inspector Gregson, he was on the list. Guys, he was on the list. There was Cosmo Sogi, A. Shin, which is Giselle Brett, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. 3 out of the 4 were dead, and Gregson wasn't dead. Gregson is now dead, apparently. I think he's probably dead, but he might not be, just because this game does weird stuff.
No, not GREGSY.
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story.
GREGSY! What happened? The inspector's death. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... He was really shot? I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene.
Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there.
GREGSY!
Oh, how strange. The boss was... He was so good to me. And I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I was gonna show him I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny.
The culprit. Who did it? So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is?
They got him already.
Already? They've caught the shooter so soon?
A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. What alpha person did this? Gene, I still can't believe it myself. Gina?
Who did it? Well, the way she's reacting, it's a character we know. Juror number 2. Jigoku? He didn't shoot him, did he? Jigoku's been gone. That's the only one that would make sense.
It was the Reaper.
The Reaper? Why? How did he get down there? I just saw him. Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zykes? Why would he be down there? That doesn't even make sense.
That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss.
No, Lord Van Zykes. Lord Van Zykes.
Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Babbitt Van Zykes the police have arrested.
I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses?
The Red Society.
They had the gunshot, apparently. And when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and the Reaper bloke in the room.
But there's no way Lord Van Zykes would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
That doesn't make any sense, really. And Sholmes is just blue-haired up.
Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry.
What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing.
He knows something. He knows something! Sholmes, what do you know? What do you know?
Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all, as soon as you can. You've got our help.
Why is GREGSY got kablammied? Wasn't GREGSY supposed to be, like, sent to... It was France, right? A punishment worse than death?
It's a detective's lot to appear wherever some sinister plot has unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves.
Mr. Sholmes.
What use is there in being a great detective if I failed to see something like this coming? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson? Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations.
Of course, yes, we will too.
It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then.
Yeah, Sholmes, you knew about the list and that this guy was gonna die, probably. Inspector Gregson dead and Lord Van Zykes arrested.
Bruno, sussy! I've called you a handsome. It's waiting outside.
Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Miss Sasibaka?
Yes.
Nope, that's the wrong button. New location added. Prison.
My ass cheeks cannot be contained by a singular cell.
Oh, he's behind my head, you see. He's perched reading his daily... He's reading the comic section of the newspaper. What's up, my man? What are you doing over there? There he is, Lord Van Zoinks behind bars.
Like Zoink Scoob.
We've never known the victim this well? Yes, we have. Not... Yes, we have. What are you talking about? Maybe. I don't know. Now that I think of it this well, maybe. Maybe. I'm trying to think. So it's true. He really was arrested. He's sitting with his back to the wall. Reading something I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zykes. Don't look at me like that.
Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be with the last person on Earth I'd like to see.
Dr. Seuss? I think if you ever get out of here, Zykes, and prosecuting doesn't work out, I think you have a career in Dr. Seuss poetry. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened. That Inspector Gregson was... What happened, Zyke?
Go home. This has nothing to do with you.
But, no, it definitely does. Forgive me, Lord Van Zykes, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us out with our investigations, please.
There's really nothing I can tell you.
What were you just reading in the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case?
This. The Yard isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with a suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance.
Hey, yo. Oh, who might that be?
Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Hairbrain.
Is he in Germany? Of course, yes. I keep forgetting that they went to the same university.
And I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know?
Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zykes never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. Because he's scared. Maybe. What happened? What happened? Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zykes? What happened?
How much do you already know?
Well, Gregson's dead. We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street. And that you were found there police when they arrived at the scene and immediately arrested. We were told that there was no one else in the room and that some witnesses heard the gunshot.
And he's gonna be like, that's it, get out. Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself.
But the gunshot, obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you?
I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise, however. Before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers.
Okay. So he doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in the place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Yeah, you do. You kind of do if you want to be not guilty, boy.
Boy? You want to be not guilty? After all, you're not representing me.
Who is? Who's doing that? Who's represent? He's gonna need a lawyer, though. I mean, can I defend you? Let me defend you, Zyke. Like Zoinks. Who's gonna be representing you in court, Lord Van Zykes?
Mr. Nash Skulkin, the greatest lawyer in all of London. Luigi. Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
You're being so weird right now. Zyke, you're being such a weird little weird dude right now. Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know.
But this is different.
In my career, all of the defendants I prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted.
That's not a small number.
Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Okay, so who didn't die? Natsumi, Gina, and Hairbrain. Those are the only 3 that never died? Okay. Surely not.
I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole.
Why not? But you actually didn't have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? Well, we already confirmed that they investigated him. He didn't have anything to do with it.
Ben's like, it's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I, however. It seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that.
Why are you clutching your brooch? Your brooch. Your little fella. What does he mean by that? Professor Hairbrain's letter. After the trial, Professor Hairbrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought.
It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail.
Now that's cool.
It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean?
Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day.
Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo.
Tokyo!
So Professor Hairbrain is safely back in Germany now.
He is.
Zyke, what is going on?
So, it appears our conversation has run dry.
There was a 2-second silence, that's all.
Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you.
I thought you trusted me. Why don't you trust me? I was wondering, Lord Van Zykes, if you would like. I'd be happy to advocate for you.
You trust me, do you?
Yeah, I mean, you trust me, right? You, said you did. Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would have never taken another man's life. It's just my feelings can't be used as evidence in court of law, sadly. Yeah.
It's a very gracious offer, however. I trust no one.
Why? I literally am your best friend. I'm your only friend, your best friend. We have thrown legs on the bench together, and you're gonna say you trust no one? What?
Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese.
It's because he got betrayed when he was younger. But please.
I have no intention of engaging your services.
Why? You're being so weird right now. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. What are you looking like that for?
I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time.
Why are you so resigned to you're a bad man? Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zoinks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. Can we go see GREGSY? Please? Oh, we can. Okay. Good. 1st November, room on Fresno Street. No! GREGSO! This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this dust-ridden, rented old room is where it happened then. There's a wig on the floor. So this is where... No, I was just thinking of Gregson, so I was doing his voice. This is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life. Yes, and the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. GREGSY. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigation have taken him elsewhere. Red hair wig. Oh, I see it.
Oi, what do you think you're doing in there? We're doing that. Every one of them drawers has got to be taken right out so you can look underneath and all. I want the space above the ceiling checked. No, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too.
Jenny.
Blimey! Are you lot ever gone to an old house looking for dough when the owners are out of town?
No. Nina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt.
That face.
She's
Oh, so you've turned up at last? Mind you, I ain't been here long myself.
Hello again, Gina.
Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking all that out of his, and then he just scuppered.
He went around here pointing at stuff and flicking that hat of his. That is what he does. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean?
Yeah. He didn't stop to say nothing to no one, not even me.
Gina, would you mind would you mind if we investigated too? You were gonna say yes.
Listen, Odo. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes, why?
Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you?
Oh, poor Gina. She's never gonna forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever. Is Gina gonna get splinkied? No. Well, Gina's still here in London and she hasn't been splinkied yet. I mean, maybe. No, she doesn't hate me. She doesn't hate me. Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zykes really is responsible for this crime, you'll be duly and fairly judged in court.
Yeah. Suppose you're right. Yeah. Go on then, Odo. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here.
Thank you, Gina.
Investigation. Meow, meow, meow.
Hello, woman on the thingy here. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. I don't think Gregson lives here, though. Ah! It's juror number 2. What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're gonna pop out of your head. They are! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! Quickly! Oh. Juror number 2. Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Are you serious? Of course she's familiar. We met her this morning. I was gonna say. Rinosuke, come on. It's Miss Vigil. That makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Miss Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. I'm sorry to say I have no idea either. The framed photograph has been entered into the court record. Chimney? An empty fireplace makes the room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it? It's thick with dust. Look. I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time. In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather. Or nobody lived here at all, and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely. I'm willing to bet no one lives here. No, that's right. It's one or the other. I'm willing to bet it's the secret meeting room of the Red Society. This looks like some sort of notice board or something. And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, look! This you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? And these are case notes here. And details of prison inmates. Yes, in fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. Oh, is this like Gregson's secret hideout? What on earth went on in this room? some old newspaper cuttings. Ah, and this one here. Oh yes, the advertisement you mean. To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's it that doing here? Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. Hello, Bobby.
Hello, Bobby. Hello.
Excuse me.
Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir.
Oh man, he can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset.
Hello, Governor.
What about you? Excuse me.
Sorry, sir. Can't see your thing, sir. Too many tears, sir.
Right, perhaps I'd be better leave you to your work then. Toy? Gun? Gun and toy? This is presumably the murder weapon then. Oh my, it is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. There's one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, Sasato. Let's see if it's real. Go line up on the wall. I'll try to shoot the headband off your head. I'll try to put this apple on your head. I'll try to shoot it. No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. The killer's revolver has been entered into the court record. Let me guess, the fingerprints of the gun. The ballistic markings. Those are going to come up. Oh, what's this? Little fella. Would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. Seeing as it's on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector GREGSY? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zykes playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. It could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It's rather delightful, after all. In a way. She keeps saying, in a way. It's kind of creepy. Wig? Candlestick? The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off. Whoa. The top of one of the candles? You mean 2 of the candles? Yes, there's wax spattered all over the wall behind, look. I suppose if a bullet had hit it... It does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle. Having first passed through the inspector's body. What? I don't get it. 2 of them... One exploded? If one exploded, I don't think there'd be a candle left. Okay. Now the wax on the wall looks like blood to me. The candelabrum has been entered into the court record. Okay. What do you have to say, Bobby? Excuse me.
If you're looking down on us from a great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after the things at the yard.
I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. What about the radiator? Someone's very haphazardly nailed these boards over the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsumi's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least let some light, I'm afraid. You could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsumi now. Okay, wig. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh, funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! Bright red hairpiece. I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And it's such a flame-colored red, too. Do you seriously not see the connection? Rinosuke. Yes, that's a color we've come across very... Okay, good. Exactly. This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it. Presumably it belonged to GREGSY? I don't know, man. GREGSY, are you okay? So I suppose this is where the victim... That's right. The rope is laid around the body to show exactly how he was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away. Now, poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away. And would probably be under Dr. Scythe's scalpel by now if not for what happened last week. And it would probably be under Dr. Scythe's scalpel if that would happen for last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. He was. Why? Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost. I know it's just a rope, but, well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with that blood stain next to it. Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we pictured in our minds can be even worse than reality. It's not to say it's so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Is that everything? Or is there still some stuff left? I think there's still some stuff left. Let's peep out. Stool. Drawer. Bobby. Oh, have I got everything? I think I have. I think I've done everything. That I can, at least that I can tell. Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a door. Talk to Ginny. Yeah, that's what I thought. Inspector GREGSY. Tina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place? That's what I want to know. It's what? Half a year since I got up the clink. That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead. Oh yes, Mr. Shums twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he? Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard. Yeah, because he's in the stories of... He's in the Irish's stories. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that. He did? Yup, and ever since then, he started going out and on all sorts of investigations. But always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him. Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I heard him say as much. I'd take my hat off to that fella. What his words? Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said it's exactly what he's respected. He respected the bloke. I didn't realize Gregson had held the Reaper in such quite high regard. He said something else to me and all. I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people who are bad. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. The crime scene. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Nope. Apparently it's being rented by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone? This is a pun. This is a pun, right? Hugh Boone? Hugh Janus? Ollie, it's the list. Hugh Janus. He showed up. It's been rented by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone. It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name, that isn't it? Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him. I see. Well, judging from appearances, I have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. No, it's been a while. Right? No, the lads from the yard piled down and got stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knows what to do with themselves. I do wonder. Yes, Miss Sussybaka. Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? No. What? What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating it on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his. I never even considered that.
Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves.
You are?
Yeah, nice work, Suze. If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hint at it.
Yeah, the board, the big board in the back mainly. You should really investigate the place in detail.
The incident.
I see that's where the poor inspector was found. Over there. Yes. Yeah, that's alright.
They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall.
Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles completely apart. I don't get this. It's blown one of the candles apart? Do they not see the other candle? I know they're melted down, but it's different. How is the one that's the one that's blown apart?
And the gun used there is on the floor. It's the Reaper's in it, no denying that.
What? Really? One of them got... I don't get it, Ollie. One of them got hit, the rest kept burning. So it got hit in the exact way that it extinguished the candle and left the stick. It didn't just break. Is that what you're telling me, Ollie? How do you know that?
Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me like with them big wide eyes.
Don't look at me with them big eyes. No, it broke the stick. It's not broken, though. At least as far as I can tell.
More saying what I've heard. I don't know much about guns myself.
It is, though. Handles are tall. Well, yes. What the frick? What the frick? You're telling me it wouldn't have exploded into more pieces or like broken a little weirder? Whatever. It's for the plot. For the plot.
There's some bigwig lawman or whatever said so. Why don't you ask him?
A bigwig lawman? That's me. Phoenix Wright lawyer man.
Anyway, Fresno Street runs along that window there. There were some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot.
Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside.
Yeah, they've all been taken down to the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting the grilling.
You think we might be able to speak to those street sellers ourselves?
I doubt it. The lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for, and you'll be up for grilling and all.
So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Okay. Oopsies. So what do I do now? I present something? Maybe? Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. 132? Not 132! All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Reason for dismissal: aiding and abetting the escape of the prison from this prison of convict just prior to his execution. What? Details of the escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with enquiries will be expected. Okay. Dr. Scythe, maybe? Oh, I didn't read the last part. Indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It's believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. Wow. Okay. What do you know about red hair, Gina? Gina, what do you make of this?
What was that? Evidence? Work something out about what happened, have you?
Oh, no, not exactly.
I ain't been long enough in the job to get all this deducting business yet. I swear I'm gonna get the person what did this to the boss. The boss.
Candle. What do you have to say about Candle? Nothing. What about policeman figure? Nothing. You don't have anything to say about policeman figure? Surprising. Revolver? Gina, what do you make of that? Gina, what do you make of a gun? Gina, what do you make of a picture of a lady? Hey, Gina, what do you make of a dismissal notice? Hey, Gina, what do you make of okay, the letter of introduction is not gonna. What do you make of a photograph of Mr. Vigil? Gina, what do you make of this? Oh, you don't make anything? Oh, that's a shame. Gina, what do you make of a Red-Headed League article? Hey! Oh, that business? Yep. Inspector Lestrade here soon had that one buttoned up. I thought it was Mr. Sholmes who led that pair into a trap, wasn't it? Maybe. Listen, Odo. It ain't easy going from an East End diver to Scotland Yard detective, right? But anyway, it's all part of the charm, innit? Being a bit loose with the truth when it helps. That's wrong for so many reasons. Maybe I should get others to write some stories about me. The Adventures of Inspector Lestrade. Let's do that. Let's do that. I like that. In Armband, what do you think of Armband? This armband is proof, in Japan at least, that I'm a defense lawyer. And this badge is proof that I'm a detective. So you're gonna have to start calling me Inspector Lestrade. In that case, you'll have to start calling me Mr. Locum Student Naruhodo Esquire. Well, anything but Odo. Mr. Locum Student Naruhodo Esquire. I could call you Defense Naruhodo if you like, but that doesn't really trip off the tongue. No, it doesn't have a great ring to it, does it? Okay, well, I presented. I'm gonna move. Where's Sholmes? Where's Sholmesies? Where's Sholmezos? Investigating. What's he doing? Lord Chief Justice Office? Can we talk to Bigwig? Big Man? Big Man? Oh! 1st November. Big Lawman?
I'm a big law power man, and I'm gonna solve the case. Big law power man, time man. You've made good time.
Who?
I took an express train back to London.
Who? I can hear Lord Strongheart, can you? Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone. My man. Hello, Kazu Daddy. How are you today?
Is everything in place?
Hi, Squid. How are you today?
Hey, Patrick, I thought of something funnier than 24.
Ah! 25. Hi, Squid. Squid, we're like on the second to last case and there's some big, giant spoilery stuff going on. Whoa, it's doing it again. Whoa! Tier 3? Is he gonna go another thingy? Squid, I really don't recommend you be here. Especially in this very particular moment, I really don't recommend you be here. If you're gonna play this game. Thank you for the tier 3, but I'm not switching back to the camera for a reason. Are you? I don't know. All right, I don't even know if you're even watching the screen, but you shouldn't be. It's a bad idea. So this is your warning, Squid. Thank you for tier 3. That's like, did you do tier 2 and then do tier 3? Doesn't that cost like the same amount of money, or like more? I don't even know. Also, do you like Skelly Man behind me? Okay. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds, Squid, if you can listen to me right now to get out of here. Good night, people. Enjoy Greatest Attorney. I am going to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Sparkly badge. It's sparkly. That's the same badge I have. Whoa, look at this. I'm gonna say beepy. That's the same badge I have. Tier 3, 41 months. Now that's cool.
Is everything in place?
I had a private compartment in the train so I could check all the paperwork. It's Kazuma-sama. Who? What are you doing here, dude?
Ah, your timing is impeccable.
It is?
No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry.
Yes. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zykes could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson.
I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. Those golden delicious ass cheeks of Lord Van Zykes. Ha, ha, ha. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zykes for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective.
Oh, no, surely not.
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes.
So does that mean the trial is tomorrow?
Precisely.
Kane.
In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions.
Ooh! Kazuma. Nothing?
Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you?
Well, kind of, yes. Just a little bit.
Mr. Asogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings. Leading the prosecution.
Wait. What? Kazuma?
As I'm sure you're aware, he is a very capable practitioner of law.
Kazuma-sama is a prosecutor? Okay. Tomorrow's trial.
I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed by all of London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds.
There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper or the Bailey, and now the Reaper himself must stand in the dock.
Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths.
Yeah, but Gregson wasn't even in court. I mean, he wasn't the defendant, I mean. Lord Van Zykes firmly denies any involvement in such matters. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent.
That's certainly true, or it has been at least until now.
Ah!
No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history.
Hey, yo. Prosecutor Asogi. So, Kazuma will be prosecuting tomorrow.
That's right.
But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. No, he was training under Zyke.
Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense.
Yeah?
A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I've no doubt at all that Kazuma will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain.
It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial.
Why do you have two swords? You have big sword, the cool sword, and you still have the wine sword. Why do you have two swords? Do you need two swords, really? You asked for this? But why?
It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you?
Right. He trusts us. He needs us to stand for the defense. Although the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. Yeah. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact. Well, there's probably a reason for it.
You are quite right, Miss Mikatoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way.
Ah.
After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as the judiciary closing ranks.
That's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution?
Ryanosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for many months.
Cosma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. The killer's gun. Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. You know if it belongs to Lord Van Zykes?
That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene.
Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know. That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct.
It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Wait, so Van Zykes is packing at all times? He's got the blicky on him at 100? That's news to me. Wait, Van Zykes doesn't have the blicky? He just owns a gun like... I'd like to think that Van Zykes is just holding the blicky at all times. In that case, it could have actually belonged to the victim.
No, Gregson had his gun on his person.
What about Lord Van Zykes?
He claims it's currently not in his possession.
What?
According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious. Dare I say it's even sussy.
Just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant is no proof that it's actually his.
No, of course not.
Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zykes. Can I present something? Revolver? Gun? What do you have to say about gun? Okay, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like gun. No gun. No gun. What about... policeman? What do you think of the policeman figurine? Okay, he doesn't like that. Why not? Why doesn't he like the policeman figurine? What? Red hairpiece. I'm just gonna present everything to this guy because I don't know. Why not? I'm just gonna present everything. I don't think he'd know anything about any of this, but like, why not? What do you know about this woman? Do you have a mistress, Lord Strongheart? Maybe. Dismissal notice? Maybe. I mean, he would actually probably know about this. No. That was one he might know about. Letter of introduction? Sure. Let's just show it to him.
Penned by Dr. Mikatoba, I see. It's been 10 long years.
So he does have something to say. But you remember my father, do you?
Certainly I remember him. And the other 2 visiting students. Of course. Mikatoba was assigned to the hospital laboratory, so we rarely met. Jigoku, on the other hand, studied our justice system under my personal supervision.
Oh, I see.
As I said, that was 10 years ago now. But I'm pleased to see they've both made names for themselves in their particular disciplines.
Now that's cool. What do you know about Mr. Vigil? Nothing. Why would you know anything about that? What do you know about my badge? What do you know about red newspaper lady? Her hair. Can I show you this? Oh, no, I don't have time for you to show me this. I only have time to look at my clock and snap. What about badge? Armband. Okay, no. He's not a fan of that. Also, why is Kazu just standing back there like a little goober? Kazu, what are you doing back there, man? What are you doing back there, bruv? Can I talk to you? I can. I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but you'll be alright now. Is your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything. Including what I was coming here to do. Right. Kazuma-sama. Can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia? Yeah, how did you do that? It was the voice. The voice? Like the TV show? With Ariana Grande and Blake Shelton? That show's great. I had to come meet the stars. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London. I'm so sorry for what's happened. Anyway, my memory might have returned to me, but there's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. What? Okay. Doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart.
Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you can learn from the public gallery.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Kazu, Daddy? Before you go, Ryunosuke. Oh, what is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you. We already did that in the cutscene. Kazuma-sama, what? You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my steed. And you carried out my role to perfection. You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you.
Yes, but I have another purpose for coming here.
Oh.
I actually have a favor to ask.
You discussed this in literally the first case of the first game. What's your favor? You want to tell us what the favor is now? Which is?
This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends.
Oh.
Right in front of me, as the defense counsel.
Why? What's this all about?
I know you have what it takes.
But Lord Van Zykes would never put his fate in my hands.
On the contrary, he recognizes your talent.
He does?
It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this.
GREGSY? What? Ah! And Clint. I assume. That's Lord Van Zykes and Inspector Gregson. Zeke! Zoinks! In a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. And who's the third person? Clint.
It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office.
Okay. In Gregson's office, you mean?
Yes, what I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it.
Rexon's photograph has been entered into the court record. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this?
Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over.
What are you doing, Kazuma? Kazuma's being weird. Weird. Being weird right now. Hi, Zyke. How are you doing?
Like zoinks.
Local prison, cell 1. Oh, so he gets the first cell. Lord Van Zykes is still reading the same letter. Was he even for hours? We've been gone quite some time, though. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter, or he's just bored. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. How did Van Zykes? How do you spell this word? It's like the word the, and he's like, how do you pronounce it? T.
I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese.
Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that.
I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass time.
You were allowed to have the case notes? What? Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow.
Which is none of your business.
No, it is. So, have you found a lawyer?
How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This is nothing to do with you.
In other words, no. We were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is.
It's going to be Kazuma Asogi, your apprentice.
Asogi.
Uh-oh, he doesn't like that name. Or Genshin Impact Asogi. That made the color drain from his face. The color of his face is already drained. He's a vampire.
Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all.
Why do you not want to engage in conversation? Come on. Why is he behind bars? He did a very bad Viz. Well, we don't know if he did a bad. But he is this his special dungeon? Viz, the inspector of this game got killed. It's like the detective. Where is he? Gregson, the main detective we've had him for like, he's been in this game for 8 cases and now he just got murdered. Apparently by Van Zykes, which is not very people PogChamp. Am I really never gonna get to do the Luigi voice again, Ollie? I'm so sad. Because I love doing Gregson's Luigi voice. Have we known this guy since case 4? We've known him 4, 5, 7, 8. I want to do...
It's me, Tobias Gregson, a murdered Scotland Yard inspector. He was stern and single-minded in his approach and a great lover of fish and chips.
Also, Kazuma's back. There might be flashbacks or something. I need to do his voice again. My best friend, who I believe to be dead, he lost his memory somehow and has now materialized as a prosecutor in British courts.
What?
Converse. Asogi.
10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi.
Genshin Impact Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father. Genshin.
So what cruel twist of fate is this now, 10 years later? The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court.
Bro, every single case that has ever existed in Phoenix Wright Land is just kangaroo court. Every single case. It's not even close to what real legal proceedings are. Genshin? Yeah, the the mass. Okay, so you missed some shit. So Kazuma, which is our best friend, which we thought was dead, the masked man, was actually alive, and he unmasked himself, and now he's like, well, I'm back. I remember everything now. His dad was a mass murderer of Japan, in Great Britain 10 years ago. And Van Zykes' brother got killed by Kazuma's dad. So he really doesn't like Japanese people because he knew the mass murderer guy, and he deceived him and killed his brother. And that's why he's racist. But it's like it's weird because he doesn't hate them for no reason. He hates them because a Japanese person killed his brother. But it's still not good. You know what I mean? I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you.
It's what he does. No doubt he knew of the young man's true identity from the outset.
But what could he have been hoping to achieve? And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Well, listen, I'm not saying Van Zykes is right. However, it was like he only has interacted with, like, 10 years ago when his brother got killed. He'd only interacted with, like, 3 Japanese people. And one murdered his brother, and then all 3 immediately left. And just, like, ditched, like, just, like, without a trace, just left. And so, like, if you're kind of sheltered in your own country, I can see why you'd think all Japanese people are bad people if that's all you knew about them. Was one killed your brother, and then all the others ran away. Not to say that he's right, like I said, but that's the reasoning. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that?
Asogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you Nipponese.
Hey! Right, your hatred of all us Japanese.
The Nipponese bane. Ooh. I've only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago.
I'm pretty sure it will, Viz, especially at the end of the game. Because here's what I'm willing to bet is going to happen at the end of the game. Is that we discover that the Japanese guy, Kazuma's dad, didn't actually kill his brother. It was someone else, probably of British descent. British. And that he's going to realize that he was wrong this whole time and be like, wow, I was stupid. I'm willing to bet that Kazuma's dad didn't actually do it and that he was framed somehow.
My brother, Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer.
Yep, the so-called professor. The professor is the Japanese guy who killed his brother in the end, by the way.
Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard.
And that was Genshin Impact Asogi. Genshin Asogi is the mass murderer, by the way.
Exactly. I developed a deep respect for that man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man.
Oh.
So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asogi's trial.
You did? Really?
It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the Professor Case inquiry, Lord Mail Strongheart.
Strongheart? Was the prosecutor? What, was intended to be the prosecutor? Wait, what? Lord Strongheart?
He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead.
Okay. Well, that's sussy.
Since that time, he's the one person to whom I felt indebted.
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed. But then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you?
Ah.
And of all things, as a lawyer.
I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese.
I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me. I could no longer control it.
I can understand why now that I know the history.
But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life. To Kazuma Sogi, I'm the bane of his. The Reaper who sent his father to the gallows.
Yeah, it's true. If you were the prosecutor, then yes, you sent his dad to the gallows.
He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow.
Inspector GREGSY.
Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy.
Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often, being transferred internationally, I mean?
It's the first time I've ever encountered it.
Oh.
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place.
Sounds like that mystery has... Maybe he was onto something, and he couldn't go to the British police. Maybe. Yeah, chicken fried rice?
Oh, yes, I love a chicken fried rice. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
That sounds tasty. Right after this stream is done, I'm gonna go eat some orange chicken and rice. In fact, because I am hungry and I didn't eat dinner tonight because I woke up after a nap and I just was like, well, I'm gonna stream. It sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed. Why not green chicken? I don't know. Make me some green chicken. I'll eat it. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery never would have been made.
What sort of approach?
After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Okay. Oh my, 10 years ago. Why is that so surprising?
Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable.
Okay.
But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined that it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death.
So, you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then. And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
I don't have confidence in anyone.
Oh.
And I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. I've no doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of London.
No, that's not true. No, he held you in very high regard. That's false. What really went on between Lord Benzikes and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of their relationship? Your gun. You got the blicky on you? About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene.
Yes, that's not mine.
Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is.
What do you expect me to say to that?
I don't know. Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true.
When did you lose it then?
That I don't know.
Oh,
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago.
so he's packing at all times.
I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose, or left it somewhere, perhaps.
You have something in common with Lord Van Zykes after all, Mr. Naruhodo. Your carelessness. A talent for misplacing things, yeah. No, that's nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into this.
Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese.
Oh dear, this rift is very wide, isn't it? So it's not decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Uh-huh. I need to show him the image. Zyke and Gregson used to be pals back in the day. And Clint's there. Lord Van Zykes. He came by this old photograph.
Where did you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost.
Is that man on the left there? That's Clint.
Yes, that's my brother, Clint.
The details of Gregson's photograph have been updated in the court record. It had to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Were you aware of that?
Respect? That's nonsense.
No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gino Lestrade, no less.
Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. It was a nice glimpse of the past, I thank you.
I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes. A brief twinkle, if you will. An insight to the true nature of this man known to all as the Stone Cold Reaper of the Bailey. Hey, you should let me defend you probably, too. That'd be cool.
Mr. Naruhodo.
He's calling me by my name? He's not calling me his learned friend? Whoa. Oh, that's the first time he's ever used my actual name. Whoa.
I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in.
What's that?
That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth.
Okay. Lord Van Zykes.
From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now. I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could.
Wait, Edgeworth? Was there an Edgeworth reference? Oh, simple determination to know the truth. Okay, yeah, that's what Edgeworth wants. Yeah.
I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here is a loathsome Nipponese who has absolute integrity as a lawyer.
So he trusts us, yet he still hates Nipponese. Who has absolute integrity. So he thinks we have absolute integrity. Huh.
There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother Clint and Genshin Asogi.
Yeah, but Genshin betrayed you. Genshin Impact Asogi. The man he idolized as the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way.
When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me.
You mean this photograph?
Back when I was able to laugh, I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I look to the future with hope.
Wait, so the only people he's only ever trusted 3 people, and 2 of them are dead, and the other one's me? Damn, okay.
Since then, I protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe.
I'm so sorry.
So, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm just surprised he's using my name. Because even he trusted us before and he still didn't use our name.
I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial, will you advocate for me?
Yes, of course I will. It would be an honor. I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo.
Then my life is in your hands.
Yeah, Van Zykes is weird because he's in the purest definition of it, he is racist, but it's like a very different kind of it. You know what I mean? Because he's rational at the same time, but completely irrational at the same time. For Lord Van Zykes, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Cosma.
Oh.
Okay. Inspector Gregson is dead, and we have to prove that it wasn't Zyke, and also we have to prove that Genshin Impact Asogi is not the murderer of 10 years ago. GREGSY. GREGSY. Episode 4, Twisted Karma and His Last Bow. Well, now I see why it's titled in such a way. Save complete. Okay, well, it's 1:31 a.m. We're probably going to go to bed. I don't want to start this trial tonight because I won't finish it. And I think this is a good stopping point. Right, Ollie? Is this a good stopping point? I will ask you now, Oil. Yeah, okay, Ollie, how long is the next trial so I can prepare for that, or I can, like, start when I want to? Or, like, at a good time? A bit longer in the stream, so, like, 3 hours? Probably? I'll just start at, like, not at 10 p.m. I started at 10 p.m. today. I was a little late. Just a little bit. But you know, it's okay.